After Oprah and Netflix, I wondered what more there could be to come. But in Spare, Harry delivered more and more blows, particularly towards his brother, Prince William.
Shockwaves through the palace, absolute picking up of jaws collectively around the royal residences. I mean, yeah, they were floored by it.
Spare just went so deep into all sorts of details he didn't really have to put in. But the biggest story in Spare, I still think, was the fact that his brother had physically attacked him.
Harry describes William coming round and grabbing him by the collar, Harry falling to the floor and breaking the dog bowl. The context to it was that William was unhappy about Meghan's alleged treatment of staff within Kensington Palace, and that he had gone to confront his brother Harry about it, and that confrontation had ended really, really badly indeed.
We'd all heard the stories that things with the brothers were not good, but the idea that Harry and William would come to physical blows, be tearing each other's shirts, falling over dog bowls in the kitchen of Nottingham Cottage over Meghan. That plus very intimate conversations that were revealed between Harry and members of his family was very much airing his dirty linen in public and really upsetting his family.
Harry was actually repeating conversations that he had had with William. This isn't right. These are private conversations. We have no right to know what Harry and William said. One of the conversations was after Prince Philip's funeral.
You just don't do that. I mean, that's disgraceful.
These things would have really annoyed William. For years, he has been worried about leaks in the palace, about people writing about his family. He knows that it is bad for the future of the monarchy for everybody to be seen to be bickering and fighting and falling out. He knows that when he becomes king, that he can't have members of the family causing controversy.
William was devastated by Spare. He couldn't believe that his brother had revealed such intimate and personal details.
He's pointed out a number of times that when you're in the royal family, you're basically silenced at times. And yet here he was coming out with all these allegations, knowing that his brother really didn't have the same right of reply. They're not able to put out their side of the story in the same way. So you can only imagine when these allegations were getting fired over to the palace, that they were received with extreme fury and frustration.
Remember, we call it a rift, but it is a one-way rift. It's always been abuse coming from Harry towards William. William has not entered into this sphere. He's not gone down to the level of Harry. It's a rift, but in public, it's just Harry against William. William has kept his silence and he's kept his calm.
In Spare, Kate really is portrayed on a number of occasions as someone who's a little bit too stiff, a little bit formal and cold, particularly in relation to how she treated Meghan. Now, that being read by William, who is, of course, would be fiercely protective of his wife, that would have to have sat so badly with him and would have really infuriated him, because it is quite a negative portrayal the whole way through.
He's incredibly protective of his wife, understandably, and Harry didn't paint a particularly kind picture of Catherine in the book.
There was also a critique of royal marriages that appeared to be a little pointed, that before Harry, others had had to marry for duty, pick the right person, rather than for love, and that would have stung. And that Harry's perception was that everybody else had been protected, but when it came to Meghan, she didn't receive the same treatment, totally forgetting that it had been incredibly difficult for Catherine during her relationship with Prince William. She had faced media scrutiny. It wasn't all plain sailing. Meghan was not the first person to go through this.
I think that was a red line for William, in the same way that it was a red line for the king when Harry crossed that line and had a go at Camilla.
He's a big man. He can take Harry slagging him off in his book. What he can't stand for is Harry slagging off Catherine, or revealing stories about Catherine, or leaking conversations that Catherine has had with Meghan about her emotions.
Harry had previously said that Kate was the sister he never had and always wanted. And all of a sudden, she's being sort of portrayed as this rather cold character. It would have been really disappointing and extremely frustrating, I imagine, for William and Kate.
The thing with William is he would bear that grudge, and I think that it was too near the knuckle in terms of him criticising his wife. All sorts of stories that were critical of Kate. Deeply personal things that were said. William was not going to have it.
I think that would have hurt him, and I think that may well have been his red line.
We've heard an awful lot from Harry and from Meghan. We've heard so much, but we're only hearing one side of the story. You will never, ever hear Prince William's version of events because he can't do that. He's in a completely different position and he just has to put up and shut up. That must be incredibly frustrating, and it's incredibly difficult to just sit back and take it and not to be able to put your side across. But it has always been the case within the royal family that once you start trying to come back and you open up those floodgates, there's no going back from that. It is better to say nothing.
The dynamic between the king and William and Harry has been a very special and unique one since the passing of the Princess of Wales. Charles had to step into that role of being a single parent. And it has gone through transformations and challenges. I'm thinking back to the time when the three of them set up United for Wildlife, something that was so important to all three of them. And when you consider that moment and compare it to now, where we have a king who's living with cancer. Harry himself has said he doesn't know how long his father has. There's no closeness because that trust has been broken down, and no relationship with his brother. I think you look at that situation and it's incredibly sad, because it is the breakdown of a family and a once very close trio. A lot of what Harry covered in Spare was his relationship with his brother. A relationship which, my very first book, William and Harry, is all about that sort of unbreakable bond between these two boys who were united in grief when their mother died, who had always sort of supported each other. And we learn in Spare that actually it wasn't a close relationship, that there was a lot of sibling rivalry, as you might expect, a lot of jealousy, a lot of Harry feeling that he didn't want to play second fiddle.
Nothing left, is there? But no, essentially, what? Nothing.
There were very illuminating anecdotes that I think said so much about Harry as a person and his relationship with his brother. The fact that, he'd always get the smaller room at Balmoral, that William always got paid more attention because William was the prince who was going to be king. Harry was the spare. The very title of his book is so loaded. It says everything, really, about how Harry felt about growing up as the second born in the royal family.